At age 30, most people begin losing muscle mass at a slow and steady pace. By age 65, that decline accelerates. And unless something is done, it continues. But here's the surprising part. You can still build muscle well into your 70s, 80s, and even 90s naturally. And in fact, your muscles still respond very well to specific nutrients and movement if you give them the right signals. You know the most powerful tools to support that? It's not a hormone and it's not a new pharmaceutical. It's a naturally occurring molecule found in certain foods and available in supplement form. And it's backed by decades of research. This molecule has been shown to boost muscle protein synthesis, improve cellular energy, and even support cognitive function as we age. And yet, most people over 65 aren't using it. I'm talking about creatine, a compound your body already makes, but likely not in sufficient amounts to maintain optimal muscle and brain health after age 60. Here's why that matters. Losing muscle isn't just about looking or feeling weaker. It changes how you live. It affects your balance, your ability to walk upstairs, to lift a grandchild, even your brain. There's a direct connection between skeletal muscle mass and cognitive health. In fact, studies show that muscle loss in older adults is linked to higher rates of depression, memory decline, insulin resistance, and even earlier mortality. But there's good news. Your muscles still listen if you speak their language. The combination of resistance movement and the right nutrient signals, like creatine, can reactivate the body's ability to build strength, power, and vitality. In today's episode, we're going to break down the science behind creatine, what it is, how it works, and why it's especially powerful after age 65. We'll explore 6 breakthrough insights from neuroscience, physiology, and behavioral science that show you exactly how to use it effectively and how to combine it with small, smart lifestyle changes to regain strength, preserve independence, and feel mentally sharper. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete science-backed protocol for how to supplement, when to take it, and how to pair it with activity and nutrition for maximum impact. Let's dive in. You may have heard the idea that after a certain age, building muscle just isn't possible anymore. That once you hit 60 or 70, your body simply can't respond the way it used to. But that's not entirely true. In fact, what the research shows is far more hopeful and empowering. Let's start with the concept of anabolic resistance. Anabolic resistance is a natural part of aging. It means that your muscles don't respond as robustly to the usual signals that stimulate growth, like protein intake or resistance exercise. Think of it like turning up the volume on a stereo, but the speakers have aged, so the sound isn't quite as loud anymore. The signal is there, it's just not getting through as effectively. But here's the good news, that resistance is not permanent, and it's not a sign that your muscles are done growing. It simply means you need to amplify the right inputs. A landmark study published in the Journal of Physiology 2015 showed that older adults still experience significant gains in lean muscle mass and strength with resistance training, especially when combined with the right nutritional support. And among all nutritional tools studied, one keeps rising to the top, creatine. When paired with progressive resistance training, like body weight exercises, resistance bands, or light dumbbells, creatine supplementation has been shown to significantly enhance muscle protein synthesis, even in people over 70. A 2021 meta-analysis in Nutrients reviewed over 20 randomized controlled trials and found that older adults who supplemented with creatine gained more muscle mass, more strength, and improved physical performance compared to those who exercise without it. So what's happening in the body that allows this? As we age, we naturally produce less creatine in the liver and kidneys. Combine that with a decline in total muscle mass and reduced activity levels, and you get a compounding effect. Lower strength, higher fatigue, and shrinking reserves of the very molecule that powers your movement. But when you restore those levels, you reactivate your body's natural machinery for building and preserving muscle. Here's an analogy. Imagine a garden hose that's lost pressure over the years. The water still flows, just not with the same force. Supplementing with creatine is like turning on a booster pump. It doesn't replace the hose, it enhances the pressure so water reaches further and faster. Your muscles are that garden, and creatine is part of the pressure system that helps nutrients and training stimuli actually take root and grow. A simple tool to apply here is this: resistance plus nutrient timing plus creatine equals muscle rebuilding after 65. Let's break that down. Resistance means loading the muscle. This can be as simple as chair squats, wall push-ups, or light dumbbells 2-3 times a week. Nutrient timing means consuming protein around 20-30 G and /or creatine about 30-30 G within 30-60 minutes of training to maximize muscle protein synthesis. Creatine, as we'll explore more deeply in the next section, enhances this whole process by increasing cellular energy, drawing water into muscle cells, and amplifying the growth response. Now, you might be thinking, but I've tried exercising before and didn't feel stronger. That's not a failure. That's a sign your body needs more of the right signal, more consistency, more support, and smarter inputs. You don't need extreme workouts. You need repeatable ones paired with tools that actually match your biology at this stage in life. The takeaway? Your muscles haven't stopped responding. You're just asking you to turn up the volume. Next, we'll explore one of the most misunderstood and underestimated molecules in the supplement world, and why creatine isn't just for bodybuilders, but a key longevity tool for aging well. For decades, creatine has lived in the world of sports nutrition, often seen as a gym bro supplement, associated with bulking, heavy lifting, and protein shakes. But that reputation is outdated, and in many ways, it's distracted older adults from one of the most powerful and well-researched tools available for preserving strength, energy, and even brain health. Here's what the research shows. Creatine isn't just a performance enhancer, it's a cellular rejuvenator, especially in people over 60. In a comprehensive 2017 meta-analysis published in Experimental Gerontology, researchers reviewed 22 randomized controlled trials involving older adults supplementing with creatine. The results were clear. Creatine significantly improved muscle strength, lean mass, and functional performance, particularly when combined with resistance training. That means better walking speed, better balance, more power standing up from a chair, and a reduced risk of falls. Why is this so important? Because strength is the foundation of independence. When you lose strength, you don't just lose muscle. You lose your ability to live on your terms. And yet we now have decades of evidence showing that creatine can slow, stop, and even reverse some of that decline when used correctly. But it goes even deeper than muscle. Recent research out of the University of Sydney and the University of Sao Paulo shows that creatine crosses the blood-brain barrier and may play a key role in neurological health. In aging adults, creatine supplementation has been linked to improvements in working memory, reaction time, and mood. That's because creatine helps fuel the mitochondria, not just in muscle cells, but in neurons. Think of it this way. Creatine is like an extra energy reserve. Your cells, especially in the brain and muscle, burn through ATP constantly. Creatine helps recycle ATP faster, keeping energy levels steadier, especially during stress, effort, or fatigue. And for older adults, whose natural creatine production has declined, supplementation acts like a restoration, bringing levels back to a more youthful, more resilient baseline. And let's make this practical. A study in the Journals of Gerontology, 2003, found that older men and women who took 5 grams of creatine per day and performed resistance training for 12 weeks gained twice as much muscle mass and strength compared to those who trained without it. That's a significant return without pharmaceuticals, without injections, and without drastic changes. So no, Creatine isn't just for bodybuilders. It's for anyone who wants to stay mobile, sharp, and strong as they age. Have you ever noticed how some people in their 70s move like they're 50 while others feel decades older than they are? A big part of that difference is muscle quality and the energy metabolism behind it. Creatine helps restore both. And here's something even more encouraging. Studies show that even people in their 80s and 90s can benefit from creatine. In fact, the older the participant, the more dramatic the gains in strength and energy levels, likely because they're starting from a lower baseline and responding well to that added fuel. A simple tool to apply is this. Start with 3 to 5 g of creatine monohydrate per day, taken with water or a small meal. No loading phase is necessary at this age. Most people see benefits within a few weeks, especially when paired with movement. If this insight is helping you rethink aging and strength, consider subscribing. We're building a science-based community here, and every week I share grounded, evidence-based tools to help you optimize your body, mind, and daily performance. Next up, we'll go deeper into the science of how creatine actually works inside your body. From muscle cells to mitochondria, and how it amplifies your strength, stamina, and even mental clarity at a cellular level. To understand why creatine is so effective, not just for building muscle, but for fueling energy and cognitive performance, we need to zoom in, not on the biceps or the bench press, but on the cell. Every movement you make, every step, every breath, every blink runs on ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. Think of ATP as your body's energy currency. When you walk, lift something, or even form a thought, ATP is spent. But here's the catch. You only store enough ATP in your cells to last a few seconds of intense activity. After that, your body must rebuild it quickly, or fatigue sets in. This is where creatine comes in. Creatine's job is to recycle ATP faster. It acts as a buffer, a high-speed delivery system that helps you regenerate energy before your muscles or brain run out of fuel. In more technical terms, creatine binds with phosphate to form phosphocreatine, which donates that phosphate to ADP, adenosine diphosphase, to rapidly recreate ATP. This process happens in milliseconds. In younger adults, this system is already efficient. But as we age, two things change. Our natural creatine stores decline, especially after age 60. Our mitochondrial efficiency drops, meaning our energy recycling slows down. So what does this mean for you? It means you may fatigue faster, your muscles may feel weaker, your mental clarity might dip in the afternoon. Tasks that used to feel effortless may now take just a little more out of you. And often people mistake this for just getting old. But much of it is energy metabolism, and that's something we can influence. Supplementing with creatine restores your cellular energy capacity, giving your mitochondria the raw material they need to perform better. In one study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2007, researchers found that creatine supplementation in older adults increased muscle phosphocreatine stores by up to 30%, leading to measurable improvements in power output, walking endurance, and recovery time, even without intense exercise. And it's not just muscles that benefit. Inside the brain, neurons use ATP rapidly, especially during stress, multitasking, or mental effort. Creatine helps sustain cognitive performance by supporting brain cell energy metabolism. This is why creatine has been studied not only for athletes, but also in people recovering from traumatic brain injury, battling neurodegenerative disease, or facing cognitive fatigue. Imagine your brain and muscles are engines. Creatine is like adding a turbocharger, not by pushing harder, but by fueling smarter. You might be wondering, if creatine is already made in the body, why do I need more? Good question. While the liver and kidneys make about 1 gram of creatine per day, and you can get a bit more from red meat or fish, that still leaves most older adults deficient, especially if protein intake or digestive efficiency is lower. Plus, studies show that older adults respond especially well to supplementation. likely because their baseline levels are lower to begin with. It's like watering a plant that's been dry for too long. The response is more dramatic when the need is higher. A practical analogy: if your energy systems are a rechargeable battery, creatine is like plugging into a faster charger. It doesn't just restore what was lost, it helps you access more of your full potential, more of the time. So here's a tool. Take 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate daily, preferably with a source of carbohydrate or protein, like a banana, yogurt, or a meal. This enhances absorption via insulin response and helps shuttle creatine more efficiently into the muscle. And remember, creatine doesn't work like caffeine. It's not a quick jolt. It's a restoration protocol, meaning you'll likely notice the full benefits within 2 to 4 weeks of consistent use. The payoff is greater stamina, strength, and clarity, built from the inside out. Up next, we'll walk through exactly how to implement this in your day-to-day routine, including how much to take, when to take it, what to pair it with, and what to avoid so you get the best results without wasting time or money. Now that you understand how creatine works and why it's so effective for muscle strength, energy, and brain health after 65, let's get specific. How much should you take? When? With what? And how can you make sure you're getting the maximum benefit without wasting time, money, or effort? Here's the protocol, grounded in the best available science and tailored for aging adults. 1. Dosage, 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per day. This is the gold standard. Most of the research on older adults uses 3 to 5 grams daily, and that's plenty to saturate your muscles and support your brain. There's no need for a loading phase where people take 20 grams a day for a week. That may benefit young athletes looking for rapid results, but for older adults, slow and steady is just as effective and easier on the gut. Stick with creatine monohydrate. It's the most studied, most effective, and most affordable form. Avoid expensive alternatives like creatine ethyl ester or buffered creatine. They haven't been shown to outperform monohydrate and may actually be less bioavailable. 2, timing. Take it daily with a meal. Creatine doesn't need to be timed precisely around workouts. It's not like caffeine. What matters most is consistency, taking it every day to maintain elevated muscle and brain levels. That said, pairing it with a meal, especially one containing carbohydrates and protein, enhances uptake. Why? Because insulin helps transport creatine into muscle cells. A 2006 study in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise showed that creatine plus carbs like fruit or toast led to significantly greater intramuscular creatine levels than creatine alone. So take 3 to 5 g of creatine monohydrate once daily, ideally with breakfast or lunch. 3, what to combine it with. This is where things get interesting. You can boost the effects of creatine by combining it with other habits or nutrients that support muscle retention and energy metabolism. Pair with light resistance exercise, even 2-3 short sessions per week of strength-based movement, bodyweight squats, resistance bands, light dumbbells, can dramatically amplify the effects of creatine. Studies show that muscle protein synthesis increases significantly when creatine and resistance training are combined. The creatine fuels the cells, the exercise provides the signal to grow. Pair with protein. A 2022 review in Nutrients found that older adults who consumed adequate protein, 1.2 to 1.6 g/kg of body weight per day, alongside creatine saw faster gains in muscle strength and size. This doesn't require supplements. Just make sure your meals include quality protein sources like eggs, fish, poultry, legumes, or Greek yogurt. Consider pairing with omega-3s. There's early evidence suggesting omega-3 fatty acids may further support muscle protein synthesis and brain health when used alongside creatine, potentially by reducing inflammation and supporting mitochondrial function. 4, what to avoid. Avoid high doses of caffeine around your creatine intake. Some early studies suggest that large amounts of caffeine, e.g. greater than 300 GMs, may blunt creatine's effectiveness in certain muscle outcomes. This isn't conclusive, But if you're taking creatine with breakfast, maybe wait a little before that second or third cup of coffee just to give your body the best shot at absorbing it fully. Also, avoid skipping days. Consistency is key. Creatine doesn't work in a single dose. It works through saturation. That means building up stores in your muscles and brain over time. Miss a few days, and those levels start to dip. So, daily creatine, 5G with a meal paired with movement and protein. If you're still with me, it's clear you care deeply about your health, your strength, and staying sharp as you age. And if this protocol is helping you feel more confident and equipped, I'd encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Every week we explore science-backed tools like this, grounded, actionable, and proven to work. No fluff, just real protocols that change lives. In the next section, we'll explore the myths, fears, and misconceptions about creatine, including kidney health, dehydration, and whether it's safe for long-term use after 65. At this point, a common question arises, and it's a smart one. Is creatine safe for me to take long-term, especially at my age? That question reveals a healthy skepticism, and it's worth addressing head-on because myths around creatine, especially in older adults, have lingered for decades. Let's unpack them with clarity and ground the answers in science. Myth 1, creatine damages your kidneys. This is by far the most persistent concern and also the most thoroughly debunked. The idea came from the fact that creatine supplementation increases creatinine levels in the blood, a waste product often used as a marker of kidney function. But here's the key distinction. Elevated creatinine from creatine doesn't indicate kidney damage. It simply reflects greater creatine turnover, not organ stress. Multiple clinical trials have confirmed this. A 2019 systematic review in Nutrients evaluated over a dozen studies involving older adults and creatine supplementation. The conclusion? No negative effects on kidney or liver function were observed, even with long-term use. Even individuals with mildly impaired kidney function showed no adverse changes when using standard creatine doses under medical supervision. Bottom line, for healthy adults and even many with age renal decline, creatine is safe when used at recommended doses. Of course, if you have a diagnosed kidney condition, speak with your physician, but for the vast majority of people over 65, this concern is no longer supported by evidence. Myth 2, creatine causes dehydration or muscle cramps. This idea likely came from athletes who were using creatine in hot environments without proper hydration. But in controlled studies, especially in older populations, the data show no increase in cramping, dehydration, or electrolyte imbalance. In fact, some evidence suggests that creatine may even help cellular hydration by drawing water into muscle cells, supporting better function, and potentially reducing injury risk. So the key takeaway, creatine doesn't dehydrate you. If anything, it supports hydration at the cellular level. Just drink water as you normally would, especially around physical activity. 3, creatine is only for bodybuilders and young athletes. This might be the biggest misconception of all. Yes, creatine was first popularized in gyms and sports, but its real power lies in its role as a fundamental energy molecule, one that affects everything from muscle integrity to brain performance to recovery from illness. Consider this. A 2023 meta-analysis published in the Journal of Gerontology found that older adults who used creatine, even without structured exercise, experienced significant improvements in muscle mass, leg strength, and daily mobility. It's not about becoming a bodybuilder. It's about staying independent, resilient, and strong for the activities that matter most in your life: carrying groceries, climbing stairs, playing with grandkids, recovering from surgery or illness. These are the outcomes creatine supports. Myth 4, creatine is a short-term boost with no long-term benefit. This one also doesn't hold up. In fact, the opposite appears to be true. The longer you take creatine, the more your muscle and brain cells accumulate and maintain optimal levels, supporting ongoing performance and protection against age decline. A 2021 paper in Experimental Gerontology proposed that creatine may even have neuroprotective effects, reducing the risk of cognitive decline by improving oxidative stress in brain cells. In other words, creatine isn't just for now, it may be a foundational part of healthy aging when used consistently over time. A simple perspective. If you're asking, is it worth it? Consider this. Creatine is one of the most studied supplements in history. It's supported by decades of data in older adults. It's safe, inexpensive, and easy to take. And it helps restore what time slowly erodes: energy, strength, resilience. In the final section, we'll recap everything we've covered. And I'll challenge you to try just one simple shift that could change how you feel, think, and move in the next 30 days. Let's step back for a moment. We've covered a lot in this episode, but here's the core insight. After the age of 65, muscle loss is not inevitable. Yes, it's common. Yes, it's driven by real biological processes, but it's also modifiable, even reversible with the right inputs. And creatine, it's one of those rare tools in the world of science-backed supplementation that's both powerful and practical, not hype, not theory, but a nutrient with decades of research showing consistent results for muscle strength, cognitive function, and healthy aging. So let's review what we now know. After 60, we lose 1-2% of muscle every year, and this loss impacts energy, mobility, metabolism, even brain health. Creatine is a natural compound that fuels your cells, especially muscle and brain cells, by restoring ATP, your body's core energy molecule. Supplementing with 3,5-G of creatine monohydrate daily can increase strength, muscle mass, bone density, and cognitive resilience in older adults, even those who aren't highly active. It's best taken with a meal, ideally alongside some protein and carbs, and paired with light resistance movement for maximal results. And despite old myths, creatine has been shown to be safe and beneficial, even in long-term use after age 65. But information is only part of the journey. The real transformation comes through action, and that's where I want to offer you a challenge. The 30-day creatine strength challenge, if you're serious about improving how you move, feel, and think, not in theory, but in real life, here's a science-backed protocol to try. Take 3-5 grams of creatine monohydrate daily with a meal. Do 10-15 minutes of strength-based movement 3 times a week. This can be bodyweight squats, wall push-ups, resistance band rows. Whatever feels safe and doable. Include quality protein at each meal: eggs, fish, legumes, Greek yogurt, or lean meats. Track how you feel. Are you noticing more energy, better balance, less stiffness? These small signals matter. By day 30, you might be surprised, not just by what your muscles can do, but by how much confidence you regain when your body begins to respond again. Strength isn't just physical, it's deeply psychological. It changes how you show up in the world. And remember, this isn't about chasing youth, it's about honoring your biology and using science to support your goals, your freedom, and your independence. Aging isn't a downhill slide. It's a shift in priorities. And with tools like creatine, you can move into that phase with more control, more vitality, and more dignity. If this video brought value to you, if it helped clarify a topic that's often confusing or full of noise, I'd love to invite you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below sharing your experience or questions. Every week we explore science-backed tools for optimizing the mind and body. Through the lens of neuroscience, behavioral science, and grounded practical health, your health journey deserves clarity, not confusion. And I'm here to help you navigate it, one protocol at a time. Stay strong, stay curious, and remember, it's never too late to rebuild your strength from the inside out.